We are on. Yeah. All right. Hold your horses. Here we go. So there's there's a lot in Buddhism that everybody thinks, well, Buddha, Gautama Buddha. Everybody thinks, well, there's probably been a lot of Buddhas, and then there's Maitreya Buddha, and there's all this. But still, if you go into the practice of Buddhism, there's a pretty particular structure of Buddhism that you can go through, like Mahayana and different structures, and one of them is established by Padmasambhava, and that one goes all the way through to today. What was taught there and the things that I kind of talk about, the 5 Dhyana Buddhas, that's very much talked about by Padmasambhava, because Padmasambhava was the incarnation of one of those. And he was Vairochana. And Adi Buddha was the way in which he was manifested. So he was manifested through the 5 Dhyana Buddhas, as a family. And he incarnated as a representation of that family, as the original Buddha, the very first Buddha that ever existed in the beginning of time, was the person we got to know as Padmasambhava when he came back. And many other incarnations before that and after that. But that's just one of them. And it's difficult because in Buddhism, most people, like the Dalai Lama, doesn't believe Buddha reincarnates. It's just a one-time thing or something. And that's not true. If you study Buddhism, you find out that in the structure of Buddhism, the prayers of Buddhism, based on the prayers of Buddhism alone, it says that we invoke, we pray, we hope, we surrender ourselves to the reality that Buddhas are always on earth, that they don't really disincarnate, they constantly keep incarnating. And that in itself is what turns the wheel of Dharma. It's a happening thing. We're not aware of it because it's celestial. It's very evolved. It's very high. Sometimes we don't have any contact with it whatsoever, only on small areas like coming across Einstein and coming across electronics and coming across new technologies and advancements in thought and mathematics and the making of the pyramid. All of that is what comes out of this influence, the very beginning of it. So when we think of the 5 Dhyana Buddhas, you have to consider, first of all, the first one, the incarnation that Padmasambhava was, and that was Adi Buddha, and through Adi Buddha, that's a primordial Buddha, That means that this Buddha was there before Buddha was there, before there was a Buddhism, He was what created that. He was the very first manifestation of the mind of Buddha. And he furthered that by making all these prayers and invocations and alignments. And those alignments were the fact that once he is incarnated, he's never going to stop incarnating. Nothing, no fear, no subjection by dark forces. Nothing will poison him into falling into samsara. Nothing. From the moment of his creation, he pledged that he would never fall into samsara, which he never did. And all this time, since the beginning of Buddhism, our teacher never fell into samsara. Never. We can see in Christianity, Adam had a problem, Jesus went on a cross, all these different things happened. But if you study the original reality of the teacher, the original teacher, which Jesus is one of, Gautama Buddha was an emanation of, all these are incarnations of a struggling process. Now, we don't know that these Buddhas are incarnations of purity. No samsara, no nothing, no evil, no nothing. Only virtues, only enormous amount of light and ability that is mastered throughout their lives. And they take lesser lives like Milarepa or Tsongkhapa or other incarnations that we know if you study Buddhism. Yeah, even Japanese Buddhism, Indian Buddhism, Hindu Buddhism, the Buddhism of Nepal, Buddhism of Tibet, Buddhism of China, Buddhism of Mongolia, Buddhism of Japan. All these are all facets of Buddhism. They're diamonds. All masters who aligned to these Buddhas in their country. Yeah, and Buddhism flourished around this world like you can't imagine. It became the teaching because it was established through Samantrahadra, the influences of the original Adi Buddha. And that Adi Buddha kept incarnating and influencing and moving everything, continents. He became the protector of Sri Lanka, and you go, Sri Lanka, well, isn't that interesting? Because that is an enormously Buddhist location. That's where ceremonies of Buddhism go on year in, year out, and that's where the Buddhist tooth comes out every year. That's where some pretty big-ass things go on, yeah? and it's protected by Adi Buddha, yeah? It's protected by Vairochana, yeah? Vairochana is one of the 5 Dhyana Buddhas. Yeah, the one that is the white one. The one is the most ancient, one that is limitless, omnipresent, pure essence. That's Vairochana, is the essence, where it first began. It didn't begin in a thought. It didn't begin in matter. It didn't begin in anything other than the etheric field. It started in the etheric field. Yeah, before there was matter, before there was anything, there was consciousness. And that became life. Everything we know that is life came out of Vairochana. Every single thing, nothing, cosmos, galaxies, everything, all comes out of Vairochana as an essence. This has been going on since the beginning of creation, beginning of time. And we have an enormous pantheon of teachings from other Buddhas, manifestations and emanations of the 5 Dhyana Buddhas, which gives us a really great path of meditation and mudras and things that we can actually facilitate ourselves to awaken up to, because we're all aspects of these 5 Dhyana Buddhas. Every one of us is different. What makes us different is that we're carrying the poisons and the positivities of 5 Dhyana Buddhas. Yeah. And the original Buddha, Vairochana, is the master of masters, is known as the teacher. Yeah. And the influence that comes with Vairochana is pure essence, so it's pure white light. Everything else, there is no color to Vairochana. There's no red, no green, no orange, no blue, but yet he could be seen as blue. He could be seen as red. He could be seen as green. He could be seen as any of those colors because he influences the making and the creation of the Dhyana Buddhas. So all that they are is what he is. They all are emanations of him. Emanations. So every Buddha, everything we think of as Buddha goes back to Adi Buddha, the primordial Buddha. Yeah, primordial Buddha. And the name of that is Vairochana. So if we want to attune to Vairochana, we go Om Vairochana. Yeah? And then Om Vairochana. Yeah, really simple, but you're actually invoking. Yeah, and then you think in your mind, what is Vairochana? Vairochana is not really an entity that you would see or experience like Avalokitesvara. All these heads and all these arms and everything. Well, Vairochana has 4 faces. 4 faces. You don't walk up to somebody and see 4 faces. You've never seen that. Yeah? But Vairochana, in his consciousness, is omnipresent. Yeah? He's omnidirectional. Yeah? He sees it in all 4 directions, plus up and down. Yeah? Which is like a phenomenon. It's a consciousness that no one has ever reached. That's what really creates Buddhism, is the fact that he sees everything in a 360 degree plus up and down. every position. Everything in sacredness that's found to be sacred, whether it be a Hopi or Aztecs or Mayans or the Great Pyramid, is based on the geometry of mind of Vairochana. Yeah? The making of the pyramid, the four directions and the direction up and down, and how that comes together to become a Great Pyramid, and how that comes together to be north and south, and all the cosmos, and all the sun and the solar, and everything we've got going on. It's all based on a point of nothingness that becomes something. Yeah? Becomes something. And out of that, the only thing that comes out of it is sacredness. There's no impurities whatsoever, nothing. Everything is pure, everything is perfect. Really perfect, because that's what Vairochana means. Perfect. Absolutely perfect, in every single way. Perfect. Sound, movement, ideology, consciousness. Yeah? So Vairochana is the thread of destiny. Yeah? The influence of destiny. So if we begin meditating, we understand that Adi Buddha, that if you go into it further, you'll find that there are 8 of these great kings, of Buddhism. Yeah? Manjushri, Maitreya, Gautama, Avalokitesvara, there are 8 of them. Yeah? They all come out of the same being. They come out of the same being, and they're the family. The manifestation of the family of Buddha, the emanations that come out of Buddha. Yeah? And that manifests into our life. It manifests everything that there is life. Because people as individuals, we tend to align to a certain characteristic of a Buddha that we don't even know about. But it's brilliant. It's amazing, how this particular Buddha has these ways of thinking, so very different than most people, and has the same conscious impurity of ability to unveil the impurity and resonate back perfect purity. That's a healing resonance that counteracts, the impurity. Yeah? And each one of these 5 Buddhas have built within them, the building blocks of what is creation. And everybody else in all of creation has lower thought form, and it's lower thought form building. Yeah? It's not building higher thought forms, it's building lower thought forms that are all based on pride or fear or anger. And each one of those thought forms, starting in a thought, becomes poisons. They enter from the mind and they push everything down. The mind pushes it down into the emotion and pushes it down into the physical. The opposite of Vairochana. The opposite. His actions is prayer 24/7. Kindness, meritorious charity, giving, caring, sharing, and being Buddha. Yeah? So there is no samsara. Samsara is in the lower mind. And everybody suffers from that lower mind, because they can think that they're out of it, but they're not. Only Vairochana is out of it. Yeah? And Vairochana has been out of it since the beginning of time. Yeah? So that means that no matter what we've done, no matter what you've ever done, Vairochana was there at that point in time. And Vairochana can release you from the bondage of time. Yeah? And bring you into the moment. Raise you up quickly to the purities of transmission. Yeah? The benefit of what comes from the daily Dharma activities that go on from Adi Buddha. Constantly. And if anybody joins into that, it becomes more powerful. It's amplified as Buddhism. It becomes the Sangha. This is all a thought form. There's Buddha, there's the teaching, and one day we will have the Sangha. And that thought form is the saving grace of humanity, because it's the outcome of humanity. That's what Buddha holds in his mind, that I see every one of you as monks and nuns, and you have all fallen into samsara. Everything you exist in is samsara. You can say it's not, but it is. Yeah? And everybody suffers from it at all times. Yeah? But simultaneously, while you're in samsara, there is a monastery, there is an incarnated Buddha from the very beginning of time, and it holds every bit of time, every little curse, every little wrong thing that's ever been done on earth is inside the body of Buddha. He doesn't miss it. It all resonates because, it's not like, oh, I've only been here since 1970, so I'm only relating from 1970 on. Think about that. Take it all the way to the beginning. You're not that way because you can't recapitulate hardly a week, 2 months, 6 years, let alone another life. And by the time you get to 70 years, you've gone down so small. Your brain, your ability of caring and sharing and giving and all those things that builds both sides of the brain and builds an antakarana that builds a thread going down to your stomach, and everything you eat is prasadam because you've heard the Lord say what you should and shouldn't eat. You're not alone in this thing. If you're not connected to the teacher, if you are, you're not alone. If you're not, you are alone. 100% alone. And it shouldn't be that way. Because your teacher is the strongest telepathic force in existence. Communicates with all things, anything and everything. Buddhas, the highest Buddhas down to the lowest of demons. The energy of Buddha never takes away the element of life. It doesn't matter what it is what it is. So the Buddha has to literally come to grips with it, feel it, taste it, know it, and say, nope, not good. Because the Buddha can discern or discriminate what takes us down the path and what takes us off the path. How far we've been off the path. All that is what the 5 Dhyana Buddhas are about. You can't make a commitment in Buddhism without the 5 Dhyana Buddhas. You can't do it. And without Vairochana, Vairochana is one of the 5, but Vairochana, they're all the emanation of Vairochana. So every single one is an aspect for your healing. It's the Vairochana's bodhisattva truth. That it's not, it's not a limited situation where you think, oh, a Buddha can do such and such. Vairochana has thousands of Buddhas made manifest as emanations. Whether it be the Karmapa or anybody in Japan, anybody in China, anybody anywhere who is at the highest levels and taking on these invocations, aligning themselves through the mantras, becoming nothing inside and everything outside, manifesting and recapitulating their past lives. That energy comes back into the earth. It changes the earth. Because we don't know that we have chakras that are connected to the earth. We don't know that we have minor chakras that are connected to the earth. And if we don't keep them straight, the earth itself and all the nations will never communicate to each other. Because chakras are part of transcendental communication. It's a transcendent way of communicating, that you have to have heart in order to communicate telepathically. If you're an asshole in any way, shape, or form in samsara, you don't have the means, you don't have the tools to go outside of that and reach into heaven and bring a blessing down and change tomorrow. Without doing this practice, what it is I'm telling you. So I'm gonna go through teaching on just one dhyana, Vairochana, and I want you to just look at the screen and read it. And then we're going to do Lotus-Born, which is a puja that I put together under Padmasambhava, and it kind of explains the manifestation of Padmasambhava through Adi Buddha. And the puja that is in it is an old ancient puja. It's really, really profound. So if you listen to it and you see those things, it becomes part of your way of learning. It's not. This isn't all intellectual. It's very cosmic recapitulation. The amount of learning that you are aware of, is beyond your wildest imagination. Being stupid and ignorant and not able to lift the veil and have all of this in your head, without me saying it over and over and over again, but all in your head. Just like if I go to Tibet and I meet my little 3-year-old Tuku, and we sit down and we meditate together, and that kid starts shaking and rocking and having a good time, and I start passing over relics to this child. And that child, at the end of the time, within the hour, is starting to do a Manjushri Puja. At 3 years old, simply because I initiated recapitulation, and I initiated a heart process in that recapitulation. These things are not yours to keep. These objects that I hand you are not yours to keep, little kid. I'm playing with it, and oh, it's so cute, I love it, thank you, and I hand him another one, and oh, wow, thank you, whoa, it's wonderful, wonderful, and I hand him a third one, and he's going, yes, and I said, but you can't keep them. No, they're mine. No, you sure? Yes, So by the end of the day, they all went back to the child. And these are relics that are, if you, money-wise, they're worth tens of thousands of dollars. They come right off the throne seat of the Karmapa. They come right out of the Patala. They come right off the senior throne seat. One is actually an eye of Buddha manifested in a tree. An eye of Buddha. That's a super relic. All these different, another one was a Serpu that fell out of the sky. One of 7 in the whole world. That fell out of the sky, and that's just about as sacred as you can get. Movies are made around stuff like that, So all of this went to this little child, and most people would think, wow, you don't give stuff like that to kids, But this is how we recapitulate. They come back to me, I pass them on to them, or I awaken them just through conversation and my own personal activities, because my activities is their puja, My daily activities, everything I do in a day, every way that I do things are actually parts of the invocations that are inside their pujas, that are my characteristics, my aspects, my willingness to be the way I am, my commitment to always reincarnate, even though this is something they would like to do. This is something, if they can get out of it, samsara, they would commit to, but they don't really believe that Buddhas do it. And you can't do that. You can't have that thought. You can't have that thought. And everybody needs to clear that thought. We need to have a better understanding so that the hierarchy and other tukus in the world can be released from a shadow of energy that sits around them, from their parents or their aunts or their uncles, or false teachers like the Dalai Lama and others that don't allow all the lineages to look for their tukus freely look for their tukus. And right now we have hundreds and hundreds of very old Rinpoches that have died. Many have died just in the last couple of years. I know some really high beings that have died just in the last couple of years, and they need to be found. And they're in the thousands, where before it'd be in the hundreds, but now they're in the thousands. And they all have to be located, and I've got a Dalai Lama who's going, well, tukus aren't that important. They kind of confuse everything. I personally am choosing not to reincarnate, all that kind of stuff. So it really takes everybody off the path in the teaching of their pujas and their understanding of Adi Buddha himself, the real teacher. The commitment he made, why he made those prayers, why he made Mahavajra, why did he make the Vajradhara reality, why did he give us these understandings to illuminate and bring us into a consciousness, And in order to get to that, we have to break away from mundane Buddhism, You got to really be understanding what Buddhism really is. And it is an emanation of the original Buddha. The primary Buddha, Adi Buddha. The primordial Buddha. And that influence is what moves everything. Because there's what turns the wheel, what gave the will, what became the Buddha, what became the Dharma, what became the manifestation of the Sangha. It took animals, vegetables, plants, minerals, all of that in the turning of the wheel of these mudras. All these mudras that I sat in for millions of years, being nothing. I didn't even have eyes. I just had head, consciousness beaming out in every direction. No eyes open, no nothing. Just consciousness, seeing everything, and going in mudras, sitting my hands one on top of the other, putting my fingers together like this, holding them for hundreds of years like that, allowing energy of my energy to manifest into the mudra, and the mudra became an active karmic element, fire, water, air, ether, and all that built this body, built this person that you see, but it built everything else simultaneously. Everything was built simultaneous, same time Adi Buddha was built. So that means you were built at the same time. Everything was built at the same time. So the consciousness is the only consciousness we have of God, creation, the working out of a plan. All of that literally sits in Buddhism. It's not a light thing. It's not a religion. And like the Dalai Lama says, he says it's a philosophy. It's a way of thinking. It is not. It's a science. It's a science of recognition that God exists and that this is created through mind, thought form building, and that we all, every single one of us, need to get out of samsara, and we need to end our relationship to Bardo, because when we die, it only gets worse. Bad, long time, rough as you can ever imagine, and the scars behind it last throughout your life. And all these things, that come down on you in the Bardo, because in the Bardo, you repeat shit, eat cake for years and years and years, and, just cake, and, just fulfilling desires and being a drunk and being an idiot and saying lascivious things and carrying out lascivious acts, That's the Bardo. You're just fulfilling these horrible things, and that becomes built into you by the time you reincarnate. And you wonder, where did I get that? Why do I have these desires? How come I'm like this? Why am I behaving like this? And everybody goes to the Bardo. Everybody eats cake all the time in hell. And they come back thinking, Giggies, McDonald's, Jack in the Box, We're all being built up in the Bardo. I am serious. This is a real reality. It's not like, Fantasia or, Disneyland or something like that. We can fix this thing, and it's all done because people have false teachers, and those false teachers mislead you into a place of thinking you have no power to change this. And you do. If you meditate, if you use mindfulness, if you follow the instruction that's given, and you carry it out in your meditation. And if you're so blessed that Vajradhara comes and literally puts a CD tape together for you, one of the most powerful things to awaken you to your inheritance, to your past lives, to what you inherit, is puja and music that comes from the teacher, the one that you love listening to. You don't know it, but you sat with Jesus, you sat with Adam, you sat with all the one, and that voice was so different than anyone else, and that activity was so different, and it was your best friend, and it was the one thing you never wanted to lose. That consciousness that came with knowing this guy was overwhelming. Nothing you can get, because every gland and every chakra and every element inside of you would wake up when you're around Buddha, when you're around Krishna, when you're around Jesus. So it's an elemental past life reality that we have, and putting the pujas out is the quickest way for you to recapitulate. And then putting out tools and things like that, that's transmission. That's helpful in a state of transmission. But without your mind actively choosing with effort to meditate, how often do you actually choose? This is my time to meditate. Now you got a sanctuary, you have a place, you have a picture of Vajradhara sitting there. You know where you're going in your meditation. You're listening to the puja. It's guided. Your mind is clear. You do not have a phone. You've been off of it for hours because you need to prepare for meditation. You can't be going like this and just pop into meditation. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You're just preparing for the Bardo. That's all you're doing. Does that make sense? You know? And I'm trying to help you, you know, become carnivore, simplify your life in every possible way so that you won't get used to the Bardo. Yeah? You'll find that simple life and easy living and things that fall in line under the truth literally eliminates your opportunity to take on these things that keep you caught up in the Bardo. Yeah, because it's samsara. The influence of samsara is what ties us up as an agreement to end up in the Bardo. Yeah? And yet you're Buddhist and you have no idea what the heck am I talking about. What the heck's the Bardo? You know, and then I got to go on another class and keep going on and on and on. Yeah, because in Buddhism, Buddhists don't study. Yeah, they're supposed to, but there's not a lot that goes on there. And the influences that you get are from idiots like the Dalai Lama, who then passes it on to other Rinpoches who are influenced by the Dalai Lama for many, many generations, and they are not committed to giving the truth to the relationship of what is Buddhism and how do you practice it. Yeah. They put in so many pitfalls and so many things, walls you got to climb over, and so many illusions and delusions that the Lama is the guru and all this kind of stuff. You know, it's wrong and it's untrue. And when you get into it, you find that it's untrue. It leaves your heart sensing that, you know, you've been used. Yeah, because it's not a good teaching. It is lesser teaching. Yeah. And whether it be Christianity or Buddhism or whatever you're going to take, unless it's coming from the teacher, because through my words, I clean everything up and then I express it. Yeah? So that you don't have to go elsewhere and go, whoa, what, you know, how does that fit with this? And how does that? I tell you it doesn't fit. Yeah, I tell you straight out. And I tell you how it doesn't fit and what dangers there is in relationship to that. And we all go back to the one Buddha. Yeah? And it doesn't matter what the Dalai Lama says, and you just go right back to the one Buddha. Yeah. And when we come from that, I could then help you by teaching you mudras. I could teach you how to do a mantra. Yeah. I could teach you how to focus on the qualities and characteristics that are the opposite of your poisons. Yeah. Without even having to feel guilty over having those poisons. You just choose to do these mantras, these meditations on a daily basis. Why? Because you're a freaking practitioner. And in order to get this stuff to work, you have to practice. Just like Vairochana. Vairochana's whole thing is creating the verses that create the mantras, that give us the mudras, that establishes Buddhism. Yeah? That's who he is. Yeah? Everything I do is that. Yeah? So just an inkling of it, just an awakening of it, just helping to gather a small speck of the light of Vairochana into a person is bodhisattva. Yeah? That's a blessing that you receive. But you have to practice to keep the blessing. The blessing will pass right straight through you and beyond you because you're not charitable. Yeah. You have too many obstacles of personality and, jealousy and all these poisons that come up, and you don't even know they're there until they're happening. Then all of a sudden you're caught in it and you're going, why do I feel like that? Why am I thinking like this? Too late. Yeah. And it's not the time to be doing it. You should be practicing through meditation. Yeah. Knowing through the meditation, through the focus of meditation, through the focus of being able to change your time and energy into receiving blessings from something that's not you. Yeah. Something that is a higher part of you, but is not you right now. Yeah. It needs to be reborn. It needs to release. Yeah. To do that, the only one you could actually release through is Vairochana, because Vairochana is nothing. Nothing. Yeah. Well, since I'm that, I have to give that teaching. That's the only thing I can give, because it literally relates to all the different aspects of the 5 Dhyana Buddhas. Yeah. And if you go into emptiness, in relationship to, steadying your mind, and starting your meditation, and focusing upon your mindfulness to the aspects of your effort, your effort to be mindful, your effort to meditate, your effort to be mindful, your effort to meditate. That's the effort. That's just it. You do those things over and over and over again, and you find that you're a monk or a nun, and your job description is monk or nun. Because what do? You meditate, and you do these other things that help to invoke that meditation into action, by your behavior and by your service and by the things you do, but mainly by mindfulness and meditation, allowing things to be released from you and having faith in the fact they're not going to come back. They're not going to come back. And what does come to you is what you're learning about Vairochana, the qualities of a Buddha, the characteristics of a Buddha, the nature of a Buddha. Because you can't see those things and study those things until you meditate and you clear some of it, and all of a sudden you relate to it. And your mind and your eyes and your senses go, whoa, I understand that now. I don't know what happened, but I understand it now. And you actually release the impurities and receive the blessing of merit that comes from Vairochana, doing it 24/7. And you're just picking up what you can. But in the end, you end up as a perfect emanation of Vairochana. Perfect. Male or female, doesn't matter who you are, because Vairochana holds a perfect complementation to all feminine qualities. And all masculine qualities, all feminine qualities, all qualities of Buddha. So there isn't an aspect of us that won't evolve into right nature as a human being if we take light, just light. Not trying to find fault or not trying to find a strength of merit or action or things like that, but nothingness. Nothingness. The teaching comes through the receiving of the merit, and then it infuses you in your mind with certain characteristics of thought, certain words, certain ways of seeing something. When you witness somebody, when you witness something, you're either now witnessing, oh, that is negative, and you can actually say it, understand it, and clarify it. But at the same time, you're starting to see virtues in people, and you can actually say it, understand it, and clarify it. And that's the only thing that's important, is to discern and discriminate. And that's where Buddhism comes in. You should be witnessing that. The only way you're going to get it is if you go, okay, this is my 2 hours of practice of meditation and mindfulness, which is study, preparation, not being on the phone, not texting anybody, not thinking a thought of what you should be doing. Your 2 hours is set aside specifically for this. 1 hour of preparation, 1 hour of meditation. And then you've got that. That's an easy thing to do. But it's not as easy, unless you have the other side of it, where you have, the influence where you're going to try. You're going to give effort. You're going to remember that this is my commitment. So let me show this to you. So watch and read. Here we go. I talked about there how there's a triad, and we all know this. You know, if you practice and study Buddhism, you know Manjushri, and you know Gautama Buddha, and you know Adi Buddha, and that there's this triad of relationship. In the center of that triad, that influence of that triad, is a fact that is Adi Buddha. You know, the influence behind Adi Buddha. Everything else is emanation, including Gautama Buddha and anything else that comes out of it. But that's not what we're mostly taught. We're mainly taught separation, you know. And so, like here, it talks about how, as the protector of the Lotus Sutra in Sri Lanka, Vairochana is known as the protector, because the influence of Buddhism in teaching and law and truth is a very difficult thing to ground out when illusion and delusion compromises the ability to receive the truth. Because the truth could be given a lesser truth, you know, a kind of, you know, I believe this is true kind of thing, you know. And that influence is what influences Buddhism or any form of consciousness, yeah. So that's what is hits everything. So in the land and in Buddha, the Vairochana Buddha is known as the protector. So is Padmasambhava is known as the protector, and so is he's known as the second Buddha. And where in all of this is a relationship of receiving the constant, continuous reincarnation of Buddha. Nothing to do with what the Dalai Lama says, Buddha never incarnates. If you study it and kind of find out, the mystery is the guy's here all the time. All the time. And you could find it. You can find it. And I've only got one body, yeah, but I've got other emanations walking around me, yeah. So Sri Lanka is one place that this goes on. Nyingma is the school of Padmasambhava. This is what, there are 10 verses, 10 promises that Buddha made, and this is 5 of them. This is natural ways of his being. Yeah? Immediately repent when he experiences a misdeed. To request the Buddhists to continue teaching, to request Buddhists to remain in the world, to follow the teachings of Buddhas at all times, to accommodate and benefit all living beings and transfer all merit and virtues to the benefit of all beings. Yeah? This isn't a common thing in Buddhism. It's not what is thought. But this is what the teacher does. Yeah? So when we become enlightened, this is what we're going to become. It's going to come naturally. Now, this is a little suggestion, the next thing I'm going to write in here, on how to create kindness, how to help by using these tools within Buddhism. Like you promise to be kind to your mother and won't argue with her anymore, and you might offer a prayer, you might vow to yourself that you will do this through determination. And all of that is a dedication. And you continue that through the process of life till this lady's gone. You know, and that's how you become a Buddha. And it's not done by the individual carrying out merit, but it's done by the fact that all the Buddhas do exist, and that's their behavior. And that blessing comes into you by accelerating that on earth. It becomes a collective, that's what the Sangha is, a collective body of blessing. And that's a short teaching on Vairochana. Yeah, so at least you get an understanding. Yeah, and it is a family, and family means that imagine that the Buddha is Adi Buddha. Yeah, is self-born, self-created. Yeah, which means he creates all of his family, not just himself. Every living thing is created out of him. And it goes all the way up to the top, where literally there are mirror images of him. That's why you see four faces, or Avalokitesvara has all these different heads, and all of that, because they're emanations of beingness and people, and qualities and characteristics. Yeah, and so all of those things are far beyond what we see in our mortal world. Yeah, we're trying to deal with history and mathematics, English, learning how to read or write and stuff like that. But this is a very different reality. Yeah, and the telepathic process that goes on with this brings in the influence, cognition. Yeah, the influence of us being able to discern, discriminate, and bring things together to understand something. So teaching literally in the Buddhist realm, in the highest Buddhist realm, like in myself, I, as a child, I am initiating into the world the making and the creation of the electric car. As a child, I am figuring out how to safely land on the moon, and put satellites around the earth for communication. Yeah? As a child, I'm thinking of this. Yeah? And by the time I'm 11 years old, I have worked out all the strategies of what goes on inside of a space capsule. What are the suits? How do they go to the bathroom? What are the safety elements? What are the danger elements? All of that I'm focused on. These are real material things. You wouldn't think, a Buddha would be spending this, but I'm just a child. Yeah? And my bodhisattva quality, my process, is not in the process of, I'm 7 years old and I'm supposed to be in a school someplace and, learning how to ride a tricycle, and maybe play with blocks and learn ABC. That's what I'm supposed to be doing, But instead, I've got a chemistry set, I'm working on stars, and I have, all kinds of stuff in the garage. I'm taking it apart, and I'm reading every single magazine on space and technology and advancements and engineering, anything I can find, in order to help me learn what's going on. What are the problems out there, and what can we do? And by the time I was 19 years old, I had come up with all the hippie music that you had ever, wanted in the world. I fostered that. I brought that into manifestation. All the relationships of bridging energetic medicine, acupuncture, yoga, all of that was fostered by the time I was 15 years old. By the time and I was a practicing yogi all the time. As from 10 years until about 18 years old, I did yoga every single day. Yeah, my mom was a yogi. I did yoga. It just was the way it was. It happened to be that way in my life. Yeah, but all of everything that I did became influences in the world for large masses of humanity, because that's what they were receiving from their teacher as interest. They were inspired. Yeah, it inspired writers. It inspired magazines to be written. It inspired sci-fi magazines to be written. It inspired, even all the different things of people thinking that, we should go to Mars, or we should go to the moon, and we should, do all this stuff. All of that was even way beyond all of that was the process of just young age. Just the process of young age, and my job was to facilitate the creation of the future. Not to think, this is a limitation of today. We're all going to be driving these cars and think, how can I make a better car? Or think, how can I do anything? No. I had visions, impressions that came to me that said electricity that comes from the sun can be transferred into electricity, through panels, by capturing the sun into panels. And those panels would then transfer into electricity. Windmills already exist today. Put a generator up to it, you got it. Put generators up to water as it's moving through your house, you've got electricity. That's not even done yet today. Put generators in cars as they're driving down the road, you've got electricity. That's not done yet today. But all these things will be done. And we will not be paying for electricity, because all my ideas are things that takes away the need to have money and pay for these things, and go out and cut down a bunch of trees so that you could be warm. Every single thing that I saw as a multiplication of millions and millions of people carrying out the same behavior every day, and that in itself was going to destroy the world. Seeing that. And the behavior had to change. And what was that behavior going to be? How would medicine be? So I had to practice homeopathy, energetic medicine, radionic, color therapy, things that were absolutely outside left field. Nobody was practicing these things. They were quackery in the past. Only physicists in Russia and Germany and other locations had any idea about what I was into. So I was connected to everybody in those realms as time was going on. By the time I was 20, 22, 25, in the war in Vietnam, all those are the activities of a Buddha. They're not little things. They're things to stop things in the future and plant seeds for that future to come back in a whole different way. No one thought about driving cars that would be electric. No one thought about the fact that cars and trucks could be electric, or trains could be electric, airplanes could be electric. Everybody just goes, no, really, that's not possible. That's impossible. Not even not possible, it's impossible. That's ridiculous. That's a waste of time, a waste of money. There is no need to even try. Yeah, but that's not where my mind goes, because I'm already there. I'm already living that life. I already see how it's done. I already see how it's manifesting. Yeah, so all of that is what comes from Sangha. It's a turning of a wheel, and we're not aware that that wheel has a current of consciousness to it that's coming from the past that is just now catching up with humanity. Now, having a number of electric cars we've got coming out is beyond anybody's idea. They're all just going 20, 30, 40 plus trucks and vans. Yeah, you got to be kidding me. And they just keep coming. And they're better. And they're made in Europe, and they're made in Germany, and they're made here in America, and they're made in Canada. Everybody's getting the opportunity to jump on the wagon of Buddha. Yeah? The change of inspiration. All the things I'm showing you, the things like you're going to start meditation. Yeah? You're going to have mindfulness. Yeah? You're going to have the ability to express yourself or use willness in a way that will allow you to move through an obstacle. You won't give up. Yeah? Giving up is an American way. It's the average human way. You get 2/3 of the way through, drive down the road, you're halfway there. Forget it. No way. I'm 100 miles out of the way. I am no. Everybody did it. Everybody did it. If it wasn't for navigation, we'd all still be going around and around and around and around, thinking that we're going the wrong place. And every single time you're less than a mile or two from where you're supposed to turn off. You never missed it. You just, your fear. And it's psychic. You got a part of you that really is your worst enemy. And knows all kinds of shit. And uses it against you. Yeah? And that's you. That's inside of you. That is your, process of samsara. That is what we, just like I said, in the process of what I put into it, it comes back to us. Yeah? If you practice the right kind of Buddhism, it's not magic or anything. You're actually giving merit away. In truth, you're giving merit away. Yeah? And the doing of that brings your wishes into manifestation. And you don't even know what your wishes are. They're part of the merit. You see it on TV, you go, wow, electric truck. That's a really fine electric truck. What? I just sold the land I never could sell for $42,000. That's the price of that electric truck. Well, I'm buying myself an electric truck. What a cosmic event. What a happy day. Yeah? All these things, so many things, you don't even know they exist until your time of need and you're watching or you're checking or you meet someone and they tell you. Yeah? Because the opportunities are way beyond the realm in which we're sitting in. Now, everybody's in the place we're used to going halfway and giving up. Yeah? And I'm leading everybody into a process to where we're not going to Mars, and we're going to go do a lot of things, but we're going to do things that are so cool, so fantastic. Traveling around, having a great time, having good days, never being sick, being psychologically clear, Imagine that. I mean, good Lord, how many people are out there emotionally unstable? Yeah? And all of it's based on Buddha. It's all based on Buddhism. Everything is based on a balance and an unbalance. Yeah? So I'm going to do this one puja. It's Lotus-Born. Just watch this for a little bit.
country of Yudayana, on the pollen bed of a lotus trunk, endowed with the most perfect and most marvelous siddhas.
Now what I'm teaching you is Vairochana, yeah? So that you understand there's one Buddha, not a million Buddhas, they're all emanations of the one. And to receive the blessings of Buddha, you have to be committed, and you have to focus with intention and do all these kind of things, yeah? And this brings about certain qualities of characteristics of change that come from the 5 Dhyana Buddhas. Yeah? So this is, in this, it's explaining that Lotus-Born Master Padmasambhava incarnated through Amitabha, and that was an agreement made by the 5 Dhyana Buddhas. How can we help humanity? What can we do to help humanity? Well, we'll just keep incarnating. That's what you don't know it, but you're only listening to one story of the group of them going, what can we do? And whoop, okay, we'll put out another one. Well, we'll put out another one, Manjushri. Oh, we'll put out another one, and we keep putting them out. This is one story of one event, and this is Padmasambhava, and they did the same with Gautama Buddha. They did the same with Jesus, So check it out.
You're renowned as a Lotus-Born, surrounded by a circle of many dakinis. Following after you, perfecting myself, I pray that you come and bless me and all mankind. Endowed with all the siddhas, the feet of great bliss. May all obstacles be removed and Mara be subdued. We pray for your blessings. May all outer, inner, and secret obstacles be allayed. May all our aims succeed through your blessings. By this virtue, may I quickly accomplish the state Ogirin Pima, and may I establish all beings without a single exception in this place. By Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, measureless in number, joy and happiness, without limit in this land called Dewa Chin. May I be born there as soon as I pass from this life, without taking birth anywhere else in the meantime. Having been born there, may I see Amitabha's face. May the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions give their blessings that this wish be expressed and this prayer be accomplished without hindrance. Victor of the three times, who continuously enjoys the wheel of the feast of great bliss. I pray that with your lineage of gurus and disciples, you will remain steadfast for kalpas and kalpas. By them, hearing and reflecting upon and accomplishing the essence of profound secret teachings, may all the collections of practice and learning rise out like the summer rivers. May there be the highest bliss. Discard mental veils. Then may we quickly be established on the level of Buddhahood. I invoke the victorious Buddhas and their heart sons, together with the assembly of lamas, yidams, dakinis, and Dharma protectors, as numerous as the dust of the fields. To those sitting on a lotus and moon seat in the sky in front of me, I respectfully pay homage, with body, speech, and mind. I offer the essence of the outer, the inner, and secret offerings in the presence of the Supreme Buddhas. I regret my former evil actions and completely acknowledge my present misdeeds. I vow henceforth not to commit these negative acts. I rejoice in all the meritorious and virtuous activity. May the assembly of victorious Buddhas not pass into nirvana, but remain to turn the wheel of the supreme Dharma and teach the three scriptures. I dedicate all my spiritual merit to the stream of beings in order that they may reach the supreme liberation. I pray that the Buddhas and their heart sons will hold me in their thoughts. May this excellent aspiration, which I am now beginning, lead me into the footsteps of the victorious Samajahata, his sons, and the noble Manjushri. May the precious lamas, the glorious doctrine, be as all-pervasive as the sky. May they shine upon beings as the sun and the moon, and endure as the mountains. May the precious Sangha, the foundations of the teachings, be enriched by harmony, pure discipline, and the three trainings. May those practicing the secret teachings, the essence of the doctrine, maintain their vows and reach the final stages of development and fulfillment. May the benefactor of the teachings, the king of the Dharma protectors, increase his domain and support the teachings. May the servants of the teachings, the ministers of the royal lineage, have increasingly excellent knowledge and skill. May the prosperous householders, sustainers of the teachings, be at ease and free from sickness and danger. May the people of all lands, having confidence in the teachings, have happiness and comfort, free from all obscurations. May I, the yogin, remaining on the path, not break my commitments and accomplish my intentions. May all these to whom I am connected be, by good or by bad karma, be held by the Buddhas from now until final enlightenment. May all beings enter the door of the peerless vehicle and attain the Buddha realm. we become omniscient. From this attainment, after defeating all faults and evil thoughts, through endless storms of birth, old age, sickness, and death, may we be liberated from all beings from the suffering in the three worlds. Om Mani Padme.
Okay, so that's a pretty good teaching video. Yeah, I don't know if you liked it or not, but it is a really good one. Yeah, and it helps to give you the impression. You know, I mean, here, I don't do rock and roll. I don't do music. You know, but I do music. But when I do it, it comes out this way. Yeah, I do prayers and invocations, and they are all the same of what I've been doing for thousands of years, and without anybody's assistance. You know, nobody's telling me I should be doing this or how to do it. No practice of any kind. You know, everything is just spontaneous, and it all is a recapitulation. Yeah, but as you listen to these tapes, as you listen to these recordings, you know, they're each one as you go through this and you start studying, and you'll find that most of the pujas that I use are traditional. You know, they're invocations and prayers and alignments that are done in very traditional ways. You know, like the Heart Sutra and other, you know, manifested, you know, ways in which we do the sutras. You know, because there's so many different yogic practices and teachers that we do the sutras too. We name them, we say what their characteristics are, we invoke them, you know, like the Chenrezig Puja, it's a very difficult one to listen to. Same thing with dispelling world glamour. You know, you have to listen to all the seven rays and all their glamours and all their positive and negative qualities, you know, and it triggers, you know, inside of a person. And there's so much of this. This is such a science, and you really have to put your heart and soul into it so you can recapitulate, you know, because you're not going to get your education from another teacher. You know, I am the teacher, and everything you're going to get is my old teachings that are still around somewhere through my students, you know, or through me. Yeah, so it is the most grounded form of education when it comes down to the teachings. The law applied in science and physics and quantum physics, understanding of everything is built within these teachings. Yeah, you know, so if we take the teachings and we listen to these pujas, and even though you don't have we're in the West, we don't have monasteries. I wasn't able to set everything up for you, you know, over the last 60 years, you know. But my intention is the rest of your lives. You know, the fact that we are going to build monasteries and we are going to create libraries of education, and America is going to be one of the largest institutions of practicing Buddhism and democracy and changing worldviews and healing the planet, and sciences and technologies on every level, spiritual, you know, and nothing mundane, everything very, very clear and very organized and very loving. And it all is fulfilling the wise aspects of Buddhism. When wisdom takes over and the linear side dies out, you know, we get our information from Buddha. We don't get it from the lesser side of intellect, what we think we know. You know, we actually get it from the higher side, which requires a transcendental, ascended reality, one that's not stuck in the fact that, geez, nobody understands. Geez, you know, this is gonna be hard to get people to believe. You know, thinking like that, having any of those reactions or feelings or anything, you're in samsara. That shit goes on 24/7. That is samsara. Yeah, but to be a Buddhist, you have to go outside of samsara by going deep inside yourself and having no reaction to the outside world. None. Zero. Yeah, and it's not like you're dead, and you're empty and you're without emotions and you don't give a shit and you're mentally, just so stern. It's not like that at all. It's just that you meditate and you're paying attention to what you're thinking, and you're not paying attention to a lot of other things. And if you are listening to something, you're actually listening, or turn it off. Don't have 10 things going on at the same time. If you can listen to all that, fine, but it's not really likely. Yeah. So in the practice of meditation, we move ourselves toward ourself, our true self. Like Padmasambhava said, the only real true goal in life is to awaken your true self, to become one with your true self. Yeah, and your true self is Vairochana, true light, pure light. Yeah, you're light, you're transcendent, you're a time traveler, you're, all the things that I'm saying you are, but you're not. Yeah. So in order to become transcendent, you have to not sit on a log and keep calling it your log. It's not. Your body's not your body. That's the first thing in Buddhism. It's really difficult for people to get that Heart Sutra and really say it, really do it, really feel it, really meditate. And you must meditate to get to that point to where you're not your eyes. You're not your hands. You're not reacting to another person's psychic thought or word or action or behavior or any of that. You're kindness. You're meant to be kindness, not a judge. Not a person of criticism, not a false teacher. Because people don't need another stick shoved up their ass and be told what to do and how to do it and why to do it. Just don't do that. And when you get in another person's stuff, that's what you're doing. Better to meditate. You'd be amazed. What moves a person is emptiness, kindness, consideration, nice words. You look good. You're pretty. You're looking great. Life is great. You like that? Yeah, me too. This is great. Those words, those kind of act that really come from your true self, can raise a person out of darkness. Can change everything. It's that easy. That's Buddhism. It's not, you're not saving someone. You must save yourself to save someone else. Don't expect it, because if you find fault in someone else, it's because you find fault in yourself, and you're seeing it in that person, and you haven't worked it out in yourself. And you just got to relax, because you have nothing wrong. Who gives a shit? It does not matter. Doesn't matter. You have to relax. Relax until it doesn't exist. Every bit of it. Your whether it's your finger or your back or your neck or your eyes or your toes or your breath or whatever you find is wrong. Try and relax. Brush your teeth or something. Make it better. Because we have that worst side of ourselves that just loves to make it that way. And then complain about it. And it's not really a setup. It's just the way glamours work. It's how poisons work. We become something other than what we are when we're in poison. When we have vices, we behave like we have vices. When we have virtue, we behave like we have virtue. It's not a mechanical thing. So let's meditate. I'm going to do the invocation. Okay, repeat after me. I invoke the power, the love, and the wisdom of my ashram, soul, and monad. To guide me into the right activity in the plan. To clarify and stimulate my mind. To transform and transmute my feelings and emotions. To energize and vitalize and heal my physical and etheric body. So there is a normal flow of energy in my physical and etheric body. Through this day and every day, I ask this in the name of the Christ to serve the One. All in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Okay, just close your eyes.
as there are in 1,000 million worlds. So many times I make reverent salutations to all the Buddhas of the three eras, to the Dharma, and to the excellent community. I pay homage to all the shrines and all the places in which the Bodhisattvas have been. I make profound obeisance to the teachers and to those whom respectful salutation is due. This very day, I go for refuge. Purpose it is to guard the universe, the mighty conquerors who overcome suffering everywhere. Wholeheartedly also I take my refuge in the Dharma, which they have ascertained, which is the abode of security against the rounds of rebirth. Likewise, in the host of the Bodhisattvas, I take my refuge. To the Buddha, for refuge I go. To the Dharma, for refuge I go. To the Sangha, for refuge I go. To the Buddha, for refuge I go. To the Dharma, for refuge I go. To the Sangha, for refuge I go. To the Buddha, for refuge I go. To the Dharma, for refuge I go. To the Sangha, for refuge I go. Teachings of the past, to all the truth teachings yet to be, to all the truth teachings that are now, my worship flows unceasingly. No other refuge than the truth. Refuge supreme is there for me. By the virtue of this truth, may grace abound and victory. All my life I go for refuge to brotherhood. To all the brotherhoods that were, to all the brotherhoods to be, to all the brotherhoods that are, my worship flows unceasingly. No refuge but the brotherhood. Refuge supreme is there for me. By the virtue of this truth, may grace abound and victory.
Okay, just relax. Okay, you can open your eyes. Alright, so in November I'm going to be giving a darshan, and the focus is going to be around what I'm teaching right now. It's going to be around Buddhism, obviously, and it's going to be around how to do prayers. Like I do my prayers. I do Chenrezig Puja, you hear it on the tape. I do There's Many Atoms, which is done by Padmasambhava. I do Lotus-Born, and there's about 8 different pujas that are traditional pujas that I do, that I'm going to set up in a book form, and we're going to do these during darshan. And we're going to practice doing the pujas, each one in a whole day, all series of all pujas in one day, and practice every single one. Do you understand why we're doing the puja, what the puja means, and all of that? So it's going to be a long day of learning Buddhism and practicing Buddhism, receiving prayer books, and putting yourself in a position to where you're going to make a commitment to where you're going to do meditation. You're going to give yourself the time to do your prayers, There's not a day that's going to go by where you're not going to do that, and you're going to continue that process, and we're going to meet again 3 months after that, and I'm going to do another darshan, and you're going to receive more books, and those books you have to study. Yeah? And they're going to be books that are written by Padmasambhava, that are books that are established within Tibetan Buddhism, and they're necessary books that you need to read, that all Tibetans read. So you will, not this next one that's coming up, but the darshan after that, you will have practiced the pujas, which we will then do during the darshan all the time, all of us, practicing and doing our pujas. And then we will also receive teachings on books that you're going to then study after that. So you'll receive the teachings on those books, you'll take those books home, you'll study those books, and then we'll get together again 3 months after that. And we'll continue that process, and you'll get to a point to where I'll get you to the tools, to where you're working with the vajra, you're working with the bell, and I'll show you the mudras that you use in sequence to specific ceremonies. And you begin a process, over the next year or so, you begin a process of going through the ceremonies. And Buddhism is based, all life is based on ceremony. All life. You have to take it for reverence. And everything you do must be reverent, must be a ceremony, must be, this is your decision, you're doing this, and what you're going to do is your best. And you're putting energy into it, and you're enjoying it, and all of that is part of the ceremony of Buddhism. So you're going to learn why you're going to do that and how that works and all of that. And it's going to get more and more and more around that. And I'm hoping by that second year term, I will have traveled through many of the states in America and had many, many students want to grow in the process of our Sangha. And we'll begin to illustrate and put together teachings for children that can work them through the same thing that I'm doing for you now, which is kindergarten. And that process, you get into it, and it's safe. I'm going to do my best to try to keep the predators out, and get the kindness really rolling, real, true, honest kindness manifested in people's hearts and their minds and their actions. So we really are a Buddhist country. We really are a Buddhist world. All right. So thank you all very much. Enjoy.